Hi everyone, it's Vicki. I am back after a little hiatus. I've had a sinus infection, so I couldn't talk for a while, and if I did, you would have thought it was my husband talking. But I'm doing better now, and I've seen 2 movies recently. I'm a little late seeing movies because of said sinus infection, but I wanted to share them with you in case you hadn't seen them and was considering them. Or in case you wait until they come out on Hulu or something and you decide whether you want to see it. First one I saw was A Haunting in Venice, and I saw it with my cousin Sarah. And Sarah likes horror movies, and I had to break it to her just before that I don't think she's going to find it to be a horror movie because it's an Agatha Christie story. And anyway, she wanted to go anyways. It still wanted to go. And I love Agatha, I can't talk. I love Agatha Christie. I think I read just about everything in my 20s of Agatha Christie, and Hercule Poirot is my favorite of her detectives. Well, really it was just him and Ms. Marple. But yeah, so I always like Agatha Christie stories. I like ensemble casts. I like that feeling. They're always set in a different period. I just like that feeling of those Agatha Christie movies like Murder on the Orient Express, Death on the Nile, those types of movies, and this is definitely right in there with those. With that said, I think the way it was marketed, I kind of think it had people thinking that it was a horror movie, a real scary movie, and it had supernatural element to it, which was kind of different as far as I can remember of any Agatha Christie. But, you know, like I said, I read these quite a long time ago. Another thing is that they did insert like 4 jump scares. 3 of them got me, 1 of them really early, and most of them were fairly early on. But basically, sorry, but basically, Poirot is retired and living in Venice, and Tina Fey's character as a novelist comes to get him out of retirement and kind of lures him by saying, you know, help me prove this psychic is wrong, attend a seance with me. And, or I guess it's a psychic, a medium, I don't know. Anyway, this woman. So that's kind of how she gets him there. And the seance is held in a place where a young woman committed suicide, and prior to that, it had at one time been a home for children. They tell you at the beginning that's the very start of the movie, if I recall. You know, all these kids were happy, and then something happened in this place where all these kids lived. I don't know if it was a hospital or an orphanage now. I can't recall. Anyway, or wasn't clear maybe. But anyway, so then unspeakable acts happen and children die, and so supposedly the house is haunted. And they're contemplating the suicide of the girl who jumped out the window or whatever. But while they're there, and Poirot is there to disprove the medium, but while they're there, another murder occurs, and so he really goes all in now. Now he's in, and there's a ex-police officer there. Anyway, so he's all in, so he stays, and of course figures out what's going on, and it's way more complicated than the first part I said about what happened, because not everything that was said that happened or appeared to have happened maybe happened or happened in that way. A little bit of surprise at the end. I didn't expect how it ended. My money was on something else having happened. So I'm kind of glad that, you know, I didn't figure it all out, because sometimes I do. And although Poirot's, a lot of those stories, so there's some little niblet of information you don't really get that the author or the movie doesn't share with you until the very end. So you can't get them all. My cousin, she liked it, and I was afraid she wouldn't because it's not a modern horror story, which she was expecting, but she liked it. She's also very polite, so, but I think she just enjoyed going to the movies too, you know, so, yeah, so I would give it a thumbs up. Mr. Mars didn't go to any movies with me this week. He had other things he was doing. So the second movie I went and saw, I went by myself, and it was My Big Fat Greek Wedding. And I don't think I saw number 2. I saw number 1 and I loved it. And I think I intended on seeing 2 and I didn't. I think that's the one, if I recall, they were, you know, putting it out as the mom and dad had to get remarried because they weren't legally married and they didn't know that at the time. But anyway, this is completely different. In this one, the dad sadly had passed away and the mom is kind of starting down the Alzheimer's path. So it kind of starts out a little sad like that. I will say, I did miss the dad character. Yeah. But anyway, but it's an interesting story because he has left a book that he made of his life, and has some of his friends from when he was little living in Greece, and he wanted his daughter to take the book back to Greece and show his friends that are in the book. I'm hesitant because I got a little confused on whether the book was about his life now or whether he's a kid. So in my mind, it's both. He starts out as a kid and then his life in America. And he wants them to see that. So anyway, the movie's busy, so I wasn't, and moves on, so I wasn't all that clear. But so Tula, that's the character's name, gets some family members and they go to Greece. And only to find out this village that her dad was raised in, which was a wonderful village from his telling, and he played in the square, and there were some fountains that the women would come get water from, like from a spring, but they had diverted it into this thing with spigots that were open and flowing all the time. It was very pretty. Gets there only to find that there's only like 6 or 7 people living there. And the person who's the self-proclaimed mayor is the one who came and picked them up at the airport and brought them. One thing I can say about this movie is there was one part of the movie, and I don't even think it was the sad part or anything, but I got a little misty-eyed because it's just so heartwarming, not heartworm, heartwarm. Dog owner, with the whole idea of family and the warmness and the camaraderie and the friendship and the love and the support. And, you know, if someone had a problem, they all pitched in and helped solve it or whatever. And yeah, I kind of miss that in today. I don't live in that kind of environment so much anymore. I have some cousins around, but my parents are gone. I'm an only child. So is my husband, so we don't have a lot of siblings around or anything. So it did get to me just a little bit in that way to see that whole family and friends turn family or neighbors turn family too. So, you know, that was very, I don't know, that felt good. So I did like that part about the movie very much. They didn't have all the characters in it that they've had before. And they do pull some characters in later in it. I don't want to give away the plot of the movie, so I'm not going to tell you how, but that one actress, they brought her and her husband back near the end of the movie, but they really had very few lines. The only lines I really recall them having much of was when they were on the phone with Tula, and they said they would help her. And then I think talking to a rental car people when they rented a car. And I think that's about all. But so you didn't get the big ensemble cast that you've had in the previous movie, My Big Fat Greek Wedding 1, which I thought was a great movie, loved it. So you didn't get that. This one, while funny, and there were some people that were just really laughing. I mean, I had a couple of ha-has out loud, but mostly I had more, you know, where you smile and go, you know, like that, not, ah, you know. But it wasn't as funny as the first one I saw. And from what I understand, the second one was really funny too. But it wasn't as funny. It was a little more, I don't want to say serious, but it was just a little more like comedy through, I don't want to say tragedy, because it really, there wasn't a tragedy, not so much. But it was just more heartwarming and their daughter's there too, and she's, you know, obviously she's going through her own thing, and then there's a boy that she dated that's there, and it's, you know, it's got a lot of things going on. And then they kind of take a vacation while they're there, and her brother, you know, is on a quest for something else, which I'm not going to tell you. So yeah, it's a busy movie, and there's definitely some interesting characters that they come to embrace, like a neighbor that seems scary, and then some other guy who turns out, well, I'm definitely not going to tell you what that is, but he turns out to be a big part of their lives. So if you see it, you'll know what it is. But anyway, I thought it was good. Very, give it a thumbs up. It's very enjoyable. The scenery is gorgeous. Even the night scenes, because the brother's looking for a tree in the woods, and then there's the big party in the town, and different things that happen at night. And even then, you know, I could see it. Sometimes night scenes in movies are just, you know, you just can't see them. But it was lively at night in one of the scenes of a big party that they had. And, you know, it was nice to be able to see it and enjoy it. And and the town people get together and, you know, fix things like the spring and stuff like that. So yeah, I definitely recommend the movie as well. It's definitely an enjoyable romp. Thanks so much for watching my channel. I hope that you'll give the video a thumbs up and subscribe to the channel. Bye-bye.